Well, good morning. We're back in the world of Sanctuary, and I think it's time to talk about the game and the future of the series, if there is one. This isn't the video I wanted to make today, or at all, but when the very thought of opening a game and playing it is discouraging, it's clear that it's one that needs to be made. This shouldn't be the game I want to do that for. This should have been so different. When I tried out the beta, I was cautiously optimistic. It had the look of Diablo II. Dark, gritty, desperate. It was a grimdark fantasy where the lines between good and evil were blurred. Good people did bad deeds for honorable reasons. A happy ending wasn't a guarantee, and, in fact, not likely given the circumstances. The graphics are good. The music and sound design are excellent. And it would be a great game if Blizzard had gone with the old format of a game that could be played offline solo or online on servers, as the first two games had been. Instead, they made it a live service game where you always have to be online, in much the way an MMO is done. It even comes complete with a cash shop, although a lackluster and expensive one at best. Yet, it doesn't feel like an MMO either. I rarely see people out in the world, and only a little more often in towns. I've never felt the need or want to group up and do any of the content. I'm not even sure how to go about it. I've heard that people can form clans or companies, but again, not sure how that works. I'm not even sure there's any form of chat available. There just isn't a clear sense of a social aspect at all, despite it being a live service game. Then there's the seasons that further divide the game. Some people, like myself, aren't interested in seasons, or reward tracks, or battle passes. We prefer our game be complete and whole, the content freely available without time constraints or other restrictions. We don't have a sense of FOMO that drives us to spend hours grinding for some nebulous reward that may or may not be worth the time and effort. And then Blizzard announced yearly expansions on top of everything else. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind expansions. Rather like when a game continues to develop and add more content. I am, after all, a huge Lotro fan and have spent 14 years playing the base game and numerous expansions. Even the original two Diablo games boasted an expansion each, adding more to the games. Yet the first two Diablo games had something that this one doesn't have. They were already complete games in their own right, with endings that didn't require the expansions to flesh them out or finish them off. Their gameplay loop was fun and satisfying. The gear drops were actually something to look forward to and clearly understandable. You knew if you got certain things, they'd either be good for your class, or you could sell them for a lot of gold and get things to make you stronger. In Diablo IV, the gameplay loop is ambiguous. I look at the map and see multiple campaign or main story quests active at once. Which do I do first? Not sure. And the side quests feel disconnected and optional, unlike past titles, where they tied into the main story. Was Diablo II perhaps a little railroaded in that aspect? Yes. But a little structure in a game with a definitive story is a good thing. Diablo IV needs more structure. It's like flesh without a skeleton to hold it all up and move it along. This leads back to yearly expansion. Why would anyone want to pay more money to add to a game whose skeleton is missing and whose core game loop isn't engaging or clear enough to play through once, much less multiple times? Perhaps the first expansion will add to that skeleton. I don't know. All we can do is wait and see. I do know I'm not looking forward to yearly expansions that trickle content to us like an IV drip, though. I know that the game is on a fast decline as a result of many of the choices Blizzard made in developing the game. On Twitch, the number of people watching the game has plummeted to under 500, And here on YouTube, the numbers aren't much better. The game isn't fun to play once the newness wears off, and a game that isn't fun to play isn't fun to watch either. What happens now? I honestly don't know. Do I keep playing and waiting for news about the expansion in hopes that what we hear is something that will fix the issues currently plaguing the game? Do I put the series on hold until next year and see what happens? I'm not sure I want to continue slogging through the world, something I should never have to say about any game, much less a game from one of my favorite franchises. But that's where we stand. So, I leave it up to you, my viewers, to decide. Do I keep going in hopes that it gets better later, or pause and wait for the expansion to see if it will improve things?
Out of mana.
Do you think it will even improve? Or is the game, like Sanctuary itself, in a desperate enough state that a happy ending isn't a guarantee? Let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching, for your support, and for everything. You're all very much appreciated. Until next time, bye for now.